But I remember I was at 401 Broadway. Every time I go by that building, I think of that like moment that kind of like changed my path and how important just pressing the button on that email was. So I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do now. And like really committed to it. And so I was like, every Monday I'm going to send out this newsletter. So I did. And I was like at the Starbucks below the building. I sent it out, had my last day of my internship. And then I was like, okay, we're going full on.
Welcome to Seacoast Stories, a podcast about the people, businesses, and newsmakers that make the Seacoast an American hidden gem. I'm Trey Farkas, and on today's episode, how Maggie Sutherland turned a passion project into a full-time career with Seacoast Lately, the region's top guide for all things dining, drinking, and doing. I grew up in Clifton Park, New York, a suburban, middle-class town sandwiched between Saratoga and Albany, the state's capital. You hear that, New York City? Albany is the capital, not you. Anyways, my childhood weekends were spent mostly at my brother's baseball games or my AAU basketball tournaments. We weren't an adventurous family. We lived an hour from Lake George and the Adirondack Mountains, but we never visited them. We just liked knowing they were there. I didn't have any beaches nearby, and if we did, we wouldn't have gone. Why? Because my brother is afraid of sand. Make it make sense. All that's to say, I didn't grow up spending entire days at the beach. Dining with waterfront views wasn't an option. I never heard of a lobster roll or a steak bomb. But that's all in the past. I'm my own person now, living his best life in Portsmouth. I went kayaking on Squam Lake a few weeks ago. I'm climbing Chicora this weekend, and I watch the sunset from Memorial Bridge all the time. I've done a lot, but I know there's so much more to explore. And that's where today's guest comes in. Maggie Sutherland is the founder and owner of Seacoast Lately, a weekly newsletter, website, and Instagram account with 38,000 followers. Every day, Maggie and her team use Seacoast Lately to highlight local businesses, give recommendations, and just celebrate the beauty of the Seacoast. I follow the account, you follow the accounts, but few people have ever known who actually runs the account. So, in her first podcast interview, Maggie Sutherland gives us all the recs while telling her Seacoast story, which begins in Newcastle, New Hampshire.
Yeah, it was an amazing childhood being here on the Seacoast. I've always loved it. I never felt the need to really get away because it has everything we could ever dream of and more. I love going to a small school of only 10 kids in my grade.
10 kids?
10 kids only, yeah. And everyone knew each other, and it was like a really great community. I have great memories of going to Prescott Park growing up and doing things that I still love today. And yeah, I couldn't have dreamed of a better childhood, like growing up here, and couldn't dream of a better place to live now. Like, it really is so special.
My graduating class in my school in upstate New York was 756 people.
Really?
There were people who walked across stage on graduation day, half of them who I had never seen in my life before.
Oh my gosh.
I can't imagine what it was like having 10 kids in your class.
Yeah, 10 kids and 60 kids in the whole school, K through 6. So it was small, but I loved it.
As a kid, what did your day-to-day like, or what are some of your fondest memories?
Ooh, that's a good question. I love just like being by the ocean and growing up surfing and going tide pooling and spending time at the beach and just playing sports and just walking to a neighbor's house to like play sports in the yard and going to summer camp here. Like I loved the camp at Seacoast Science Center. I was like crazy about that. When the Children's Museum was in downtown Portsmouth, I went to that camp and was obsessed with that, and outdoorsy kind of things. I always went to like painting class at someone's house in Portsmouth because that was a thing. And yeah.
So when you were in your high school years and were thinking about the future in college and whatnot, did you want to leave the area or no?
Not really at that time because I'm so close with my family that it was like really hard for me to go away. So yeah, I went to high school here on the Seacoast, and college I went 2 hours away. So I didn't really venture too far from the seacoast. And like, I think after college, I really wanted to move to New York City and to pursue marketing and fashion and do something like really busy and fun and like fast paced and that kind of lifestyle. So I was craving that because I had spent all of my childhood and growing up in like this type of area, like New England, and I was just used to it and it was familiar. So I did go to New York for like 8 months in total and got a taste of living there and I loved it, but I couldn't dream of leaving the seacoast forever. And yeah.
How was your experience in New York City?
It was awesome. I really liked it. I was doing all unpaid internships. So with like internships like during college and after graduating, I did 7 unpaid internships. So I was doing a lot of like deliveries in mail rooms and doing blog posts and social media for some of these brands. And I loved the work, but I wasn't getting paid because they were free internships. So it was a great experience, but after a few months, I was like, I really miss my family. I really miss home. And while that was a great experience and I love the pace of it, I prefer to visit it and live here because I just like love the lifestyle here. So yeah, I'm glad I had that opportunity and could kind of see what I appreciate in life.
So what exactly, when you were in the big city, what did you miss so much about the seacoast?
I remember one moment vividly. I was like doing a delivery, like going on a subway. I was in a work outfit. It was so hot. I was like coming towards like summer. And I was like, why am I in this hot city sweating on a subway? My family is not here. I'm just like doing this like random delivery of some fashion article, like from the showroom to where it came from. And I was like, I don't think this is for me. Like, I don't want to spend my summer here. My family's like going to the beach and like spending time together and going out to dinner and eating at a really nice place outside or something. I'm like, I don't think this is the life I want to live, even though it's awesome. But yeah, I think I would just really miss the life here.
Does any part of you feel guilty or like you're missing out on life at all because you've spent the vast majority of your life just in one concentrated area, or are you totally content with that?
That's a great question. I think on occasion I'll think that, but overall I feel like really comfortable and confident that I decided as an adult to choose to live here and have made my own friends since graduating, like not people I grew up with, and they're really awesome people here. Like it has everything we could ever dream of. So, but we can travel. So that's awesome. And coming home, there's no feeling like it. Like just being part of the community. I think it's so special here. Like really amazing people like yourself, like doing really cool things. And I think it's so creative here. People are go-getters and doing really interesting, unique things, starting businesses and lots of artists and creatives. And I think this is just like the pace and what I crave day to day.
So when you returned to the seacoast, what was the grand plan for how things were going to shake out?
There wasn't quite a grand plan. I was just kind of winging it as I still am today. But there was this woman who was doing a blog on Nantucket called Nantucket Black Book, and I had been following her for a couple of years, and I really admired her work. She was doing something very similar to what we do at Seacoast Lately by posting lifestyle of that area. So restaurants, things to do, beautiful scenery. And I was like, if she can do it and make a job for herself, like on this beautiful rural island in New England that's such a touristy destination, but also people live there year round. Like, why couldn't I do something similar here on the seacoast? And I hadn't been graduated for a year yet. So I was like, you know what? Why not try and do something similar? Because I love marketing. I love where I'm from. I missed it. I think living in New York gave me the opportunity to like really miss home in New England and that whole coastal lifestyle and the people. So I was like, why not give it a whirl and see what I can do? Like, I think there's an opportunity for that here on the seacoast. It's growing. There's so much going on, so much to do. So I was like, might as well move home, live with my parents, and see how it goes. So I did that. And at the same time, I also worked at the restaurant Street, which I love still. But that was 9 years ago, and here we are.
So take me back to those early days of what is now known as Seacoast Lately. What was the first step in making this happen?
So the first step, I made this random, very tiny website on Squarespace, and I taught myself. I had never built a website before. I was like, okay, that's simple enough. I'll see how it goes. So I did that. And I also put a newsletter together through, maybe it was Constant Contact back then. And I remember I put just like some family and friends emails on it. And I was like, here's what I'm doing, you guys. Like, Seacoast, woohoo. So yeah, I sent the first newsletter out on a Monday, and it was the last day of my unpaid internship. I remember I was at 401 Broadway. Every time I go by that building, I think of that like moment that kind of like changed my path and how important just pressing the button on that email was. So I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do now. And like really committed to it. And so I was like, every Monday I'm going to send out this newsletter. So I did. And I was like at the Starbucks below the building. I sent it out, had my last day of my internship. And then I was like, okay, we're going full on blogging from here. At the time when I started out, it was called Seacoast Tour Guide. And so a couple of times my mom had told people, oh, what's Maggie up to? And I was like, oh, she was like, oh, she's doing this like blog called Seacoast Tour Guide. And they're like, oh my gosh, she's giving tours on the Seacoast. And so that lasted for a couple months. I was like, no, I don't want to, I'm not doing tours, but I'll change the name. And so I did change the name and I made my logo. I just drew it, pen and paper, took a picture of it, put it on the website. Very minimal content. Instagram had like 300 followers. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I was just like throwing spaghetti against the wall and seeing what stuck, what made sense. And that's exactly what I'm still doing today. But I was like, let me just keep posting. I'll post for free, like introduce myself to people, do blog posts for free. Like the first year I made $1,000, my entire income, because I was doing it like for free. I wanted to like allow people the opportunity to trust me. I didn't want to like take money and like only share their business with a couple of hundred of followers. So it felt right to me just to be like, here's what I'm doing. Can we post about you for free? And tried to introduce myself to people. And that was the first couple of months, the first year really.
Wow. So what exactly was the original concept?
It was very much what it is today, kind of to create a digital platform for the Seacoast for tourists or visitors to the area and locals that was very curated. So I didn't want to like create something that had all these logos on it or sponsored or just like anyone who will pay will feature you. Like I really care about community. I care about beautiful things. I care about people who are friendly and nice and genuinely want to be part of this community, work hard to like bring something amazing to this area. So I really wanted to create something that was very curated. So from the get-go, it was that, and it was a website, it was social media, it was a newsletter, and still that's like the concept today. My photography skills have improved a little bit after a couple of classes. Like I look back at some of my old photos, I'm like, oh my goodness, they're so bad. But that's how you know you're growing, I guess.
Now, keep in mind, this is 9 years ago. This is not today. How we consume things online has greatly changed in the last 9 years. So when you were doing this was very much, I mean, Instagram had been around for a few years, but it was nowhere near the behemoth that it is today. So the fact that you were doing newsletter, Instagram, and website in an area that probably had not much of that going on was probably very instrumental in the growth.
That's a great point. Yeah. Sometimes I don't think about it because it's just like year after year it happens and grows. But yeah, there wasn't even Instagram stories back then. Right. Like the capabilities with websites nowadays is like improved so much in just a short time frame. So it is cool to look back and see that.
$1,000 in the first year. I think this provides perhaps a good business lesson for all the entrepreneurial Seacoast members here. People don't necessarily start businesses because their first goal is to make money. They want to make a difference, but in order for the business to last, it has to make money.
Yeah.
So how did you kind of that first year be so okay with not bringing in any money? Obviously, $1,000, not enough to sustain a living in this expensive area. So how are you okay with that?
That's true. I was just 23 and the year before, I was making no money because I was doing unpaid internships. So $1,000 is a slight improvement. Rich. Yeah. I jumped a big leap that year. So yeah, I think my parents were kind enough to let me stay at their house. So without that, I couldn't have done it. And I was working at a restaurant too at the same time. But then there was crossover with the jobs and I didn't feel like I could handle both and really do a good job at either. So I was like, you know what? That's okay. I have some ideas on how I can make money once I reach a certain amount of followers, and then I'll feel okay accepting money for that. So I just really focused on growing my account, and I didn't know what making money even was really that much. I worked growing up in high school and college, but I never knew what a career was. So I didn't know what I was really missing out on. Like, I don't know.
And when you told people, or when your mom told people what you were up to and what you were planning, what was the reaction that you were receiving?
I think people were excited about me, but I think that was a common question. Like, how are you going to make money doing this? And I'm by no means like a financial guru or anything. I don't know. I still don't really know what I'm doing. But yeah, I think the response was generally positive. And yeah, I think people wanted to see me succeed, but I didn't really know how I was going to do it. But figured out some couple of streams, I guess.
You have. Well, clearly you do know what you're doing, despite you saying the contrary. Over the last 9 years, 38,000 followers on Instagram, which is a very large number, an impressive number. What do you attribute the success of the account to?
Ooh, I think the Seacoast really speaks for itself in terms of visual aesthetic. So I think it's all natural growth. Like, I've never paid for anything, and people just like love the Seacoast. So it's so fun to be posting about it all year round, whether it's like a snowy photo or a summer sunset. People just love the area. So it's fun to just take pictures, go out and about with my camera and post about that. And it's fun to see people like get excited, just as excited as I am about like this beautiful place we get to live. And whether it's like Maine or New Hampshire, people are like attached to this area. So I think that's mostly like what has helped us grow is like the scenic photos. And the Seacoast looks good at every angle. So it's not too hard. But yeah, and just people who care about this area.
Okay, I need your help. Like I said, I'm not from here, and I want my friends who are also not from here to come visit me. Friends from New York City, my friends in Florida, other parts of the country. I cannot for the life of me get them to come here because
Why?
I say, come visit me in New Hampshire. We'll do X, Y, and Z. And the reaction is, I'm not coming to New Hampshire to visit you. Are you kidding me? What is there in New Hampshire? And then I say, oh, we have beaches. We have great restaurants. And it's like, I live in Miami. I live in New York City. Like, we've got plenty to do here. I'm not making a weekend trip of it. I'm not spending money to come visit New Hampshire. What's the pitch to my friends that are stubborn that I can't convince them to come visit me?
I think as soon as they arrive, they'll be blown away and totally surprised that New Hampshire is this cool. And I hope they are and just come visit you every single year because they love it so much. But that's true. It's so underrated, I think. I think it's more on the map these days than it was like even 5-10 years ago. But I think people just don't realize that we have a coastline here. Like, anytime I say I'm from New Hampshire, I feel like I'm like, oh my gosh, people probably think I'm from like this extremely rural town where there's just like woods and farm animals and stuff. But I feel like the Seacoast coastal photos of New Hampshire hopefully will change their mind. And also, you seem like a fun guy. So I feel like you know the cool spots to go, like fun places to take your friends, cool restaurants. It's so vibrant here. Like, I don't know the exact pitch, but all I can say is come and you won't regret it.
Coming up, Maggie's expert opinion on where to eat, drink, and even go on a date. Stay with us. This is Seacoast Stories. Hey everyone, it's Troy. I want to take a quick moment to tell you what happened last Friday night. To celebrate the launch of this podcast, I hosted a party at Treeline Outfitters in Portsmouth's West End. With free pizza from Otto's and free beer from Treeline, 30 or 40 people came out to ring in the new era with me. We had a blast. Why did I host this event? Well, as you'll learn later in this episode, I'm tired of the internet, sick of my phone, and fed up with all the fake interactions we have all the time. I believe that life is best lived when you're sharing real experiences with real people in real life. And I believe it's my mission to bring people together, to foster connection and community, and to create spaces where people feel free to tell their stories without judgment. I want to do this as often as I can. I want to host more podcast parties here, as well as live shows in front of live audiences at some of our favorite venues. Yeah, I'll tell the stories every week on this podcast, but in person at these events, we can tell them to each other. That's the world I want to live in, and I believe the Seacoast is uniquely built to create that world. To help me share stories, create connections, and leave this world a little better than how we found it, I just ask you to help me in one small way. Send this podcast to someone in your life. If more people know about the show, then they'll be able to stay up to date on our big plans for bringing the Seacoast community closer together. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here. Now back to today's episode. I've got one day on the Seacoast. I'm coming from the outside, and I want to have the best day ever.
Okay.
Can you design the perfect Seacoast day for me? Tell me what I have to do.
I feel like you should start in New Hampshire and then work your way to Maine. Maybe you'd wake up really early at 5:20 and then take a walk on the beach and then go get like a breakfast or latte somewhere, maybe Summer Sessions, the cafe across from Venice Beach, or the Islander Cafe, somewhere coastal and laid back and like beautiful. Eat it on the beach. Maybe take a bike ride or a kayak kind of adventure. Walk around downtown Portsmouth, I feel like, is a must. Go in all the shops, and maybe you like walk across the bridge for lunch. Definitely you have to have ice cream. And then I feel like take some sort of boat ride. I mean, now it's summer, so of course I'm thinking summer activities, but like a boat ride on the coast of Maine, maybe out of Perkins Cove or something, or go to Funorama, York Beach, walk around York Beach,
What
get
is
the
that?
vibe. Like you can play skee ball and arcade games and stuff like that. It's like kind of old fashioned, which is kind of like sweet.
Okay.
Then go out to dinner somewhere really awesome. Maybe have a drink by the water, somewhere fun, like before dinner.
Okay.
Walk the Marginal Way in Agunquit.
I don't know what that is, but
Then I feel like
there should be some type of entertainment, right? There's a lot of there's live music, there's theater.
I love the front porch, so like just dancing and like having a great time. Going there maybe, but then also there's Prescott Park. There's the music hall. If there's a show at the music hall, then that's like so special, like a historic quintessential Portsmouth. So, I mean, I don't even know. I feel like you need a whole
moral of the story is you need more than one day.
Yeah, because there's just too much fun to be had. Yeah. But what I like too is like going like at an around the world kind of dinner. So if you have an appetizer at one place and then like maybe a beverage at another place and then another appetizer at another restaurant, then you can really get a taste of many of our awesome restaurants in one night. But Portsmouth that night is so fun too, though. A drink like at the old ferry landing.
Oh, I haven't been there yet.
Oh, you have to go.
I need to.
It's iconic. Maybe like a drink there, an early one. Then
I'm
go to a
pretty
show
drunk on your day, as you've laid out.
And an appetizer
I'm
at the
4
same
drinks
time.
deep at this point.
And you need more ice cream too.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. There's just too much fun here in a good way.
What's your favorite coffee shop in town?
Okay, I do love all of them. Let me preface by saying that. I do love White Heron because that's kind of like, I used to go there every single morning when I didn't wake up quite as early. And I'd sat on the green couch and I have so many memories of like early days of Seacoast Lately being there. So it holds a special place in my heart. I love Cafe Killam. I think they have amazing lattes. You really can't go wrong. There's not a bad coffee. Lil's, Islander Cafe. Yeah,
my favorite's Wild Valentine. That's my spot.
Oh, yes, of course. Wild Valentine. That is the best.
I love that spot.
That is a really awesome spot. And Cafe Noah downtown. I love that they're downtown.
Shout out to Abigail.
Shout out to Abigail.
She's great.
Everyone's like so nice too.
Yes.
Which is such a gift.
I've never lived anywhere where I was a regular. I've lived a lot of places, but never for long periods of time. I've now lived here for a year, which is the longest I've ever really lived somewhere.
Wow.
And like in my adult life. Mm-hmm. And so I've never really just seen people around town that I know or been a regular where people know my name or know my order. And now I have that here and it's pretty cool.
I love when that happens. Yeah. They're like, oh, the egg sandwich again? How'd you know? Yeah. Of course. Yeah. Where are you a regular that they know your order?
Stroll.
Okay.
I live right above it, so I go there all the time.
Convenient.
They know me at Noah.
Okay.
Those are the spots. And the goat probably knows me as well for just sitting at the bar and getting the pulled pork nachos.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's a good thing to be known for.
Yeah, I know. Seriously. Just like when I die, put that on my gravestone.
Yeah.
That I support the pulled pork nachos at Goat.
Love
Speaking of
that.
which, what's your favorite restaurant?
Ooh. Gosh, we're spoiled here with so many amazing restaurants. It's like hard to choose, which I know everyone probably says that. I do love Row 34. I love Moxie. I love Jumpin' Jays. If we're bopping up to Maine, I love Stone's Throw on York Beach.
Oh, okay.
I just went to Wandby Landing in Kennebunk I went like twice in a month, and I love that place now. I'd never been before. I love Cure. Oh, the food there is incredible. Black Trumpet, love the food there. I love food.
I was told recently that I have to go to Patty B's in Dover.
I've been told that too. I've never been.
Wow. Field trip.
Yeah. Field trip. I've heard incredible things about it. I don't know why. I just don't think to go there, but
Yeah.
Dover's cool. Dover's got a lot going on.
What's a good dinner date spot?
Okay, here's where I really want to go for like something like that. The Levitt Theater in Ogunquit, because you can like eat dinner there and watch a movie. So I feel like that's kind of like a
Oh,
unique.
At the same time?
Yeah,
Okay.
you can have like a beverage or listen to some live music. I've been there before, but like not for dinner and a movie. But I think that's kind of fun.
Okay.
So I want to do that. I love going to the front porch. I feel like that's fun dinner and dancing, listening to some live piano music. So shout out to Ogunquit.
That's Ogunquit, right? Yeah.
Where else? Ice cream?
Yeah.
Can't be ice cream and a beach walk. Lagos. The Ice House too. I worked there for 9 years.
Oh, wow.
Shout out. Love that place.
Okay. Where's that?
Rococo in Kennebunkport. The Ice House is in Rye.
Okay.
That's a good spot.
Gosh, I've got so much to do this summer.
You have so much ice cream to eat. Red Rover. Oh, yum.
That's in Portsmouth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been there.
It's so good, right?
Yeah, it was very good. I haven't had Izzy's yet.
We haven't been there in a while, but that's good too. I mean, again, you can't go wrong with all the ice cream places too. We're so fortunate.
Best spot for grabbing drinks.
The Wallingford
Where's that?
in Kittery. Like, okay, walking across a bridge from Portsmouth to Kittery, that is like so fun. So yeah, the Wallingford, the Wilder.
Love the Wilder.
I love the Wilder too. I don't like beer, and I wish I did because I would love to go to breweries more because there are so many cool breweries
Can
here.
you really
of
be
course.
a true seacoaster and not like beer?
Yes. I know. I want to go like more, you know?
Yeah.
But I think they have other options. So I don't think of it.
Yeah. I love the Portsmouth brewery scene for sure. I'm definitely an IPA snob. So
Oh,
much
really?
so, it hasn't happened yet, but I'm going to turn this dream into a reality. The Seacoast Stories IPA.
Okay.
So if you're a local brewery person out there, you want to partner with me on the Seacoast Stories IPA, slide into the DMs. We'll make it happen.
Ooh, that is a fun call to action.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Challenge accepted by some cool brewery.
Best outdoorsy activity.
Pickleball, volleyball on the beach in the summer with my social sports. Love that.
Oh, yes. We love my social sports.
Yes. Love running on the causeway. Outdoor anything at Prescott Park.
Yep.
Movies, concerts, walking across your favorite bridge, which is also my favorite bridge.
Wow.
Going on the boats from Portsmouth, the Heritage, Thomas Layton, biking, tennis, golf, surfing. My goodness. The
You guys
options are
listening,
truly endless.
you can't see the way that Maggie is just lighting up speaking about all these things. It brings me so much joy how much joy you have talking about the
Aw.
Seacoast. So it's perfect that you are the one running Seacoast lately because I don't think anyone else could do it better and with more joy and passion than you.
I'm crazy about this place. I can't hide it. And the Portsmouth pool. How great is that place?
Haven't been. Where's that?
Oh, you have to go. It's only $2.
I have so much
or
to
maybe
do.
it's $3 now.
Capitalism.
It's amazing.
My gosh.
I know. It's right on the river. It's beautiful. It's huge.
The Portsmouth pool?
Yes.
Where's that?
It's like on Pierce Island. It's a
Okay.
really great
I've walked
pool.
by that
Yeah.
before. Okay.
$3
Oh, okay. For the day?
for as long as you want.
So, Seacoast Lately, right now in 2024, what are the main services that Seacoast Lately offers?
We offer social media posts if you'd like to get your business out there with our followers. We put some guides together. So if you're like a fitness business and you want to be part of our fitness guide, you totally can. So that's an option. And exposure, digital exposure
Yeah.
on our platforms.
Do you have any data or any evidence to support just how successful like the posts are and the promotion is in terms of growing other people's businesses?
We do. Yeah, we track pretty much everything when we post. So we do have that like feedback to provide people with. And I'm glad we do go the extra mile to do that because I think it's important for people. Like we're all small business owners here. So like to get that return as much as possible on your investment, I think is helpful to have. And I truly, genuinely want to actually get customers to these businesses that we work with. So I care about their stats too. And if they weren't good, then I wouldn't be doing this. And if I wasn't confident in what we do or hearing people like say like, oh my gosh, I went to that business because I saw you post about it, or like, oh, I just discovered this business because of your newsletter, something like that. If I didn't get feedback like that, which I'm grateful people do share that with me sometimes, I definitely would not be doing this because I care too much about what other people are doing and all that. So yeah, we do have some stats to back it up.
The brands and people that come to you for the first time, do you find that they often come back?
I think a lot of them do. And at first when people don't, then I was like, oh my gosh, it's personal. We didn't do a good job. But I've learned that over the years that business is like ebb and flow. And sometimes like, I will never get a response from someone. I'm like, oh my gosh, we've worked with them for 7 years straight. Like I never heard back. And then it's like 7 months later, it's like, oh, they changed ownership. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Or they were like, oh, we sold the business, or, we're having a new manager come on. It's like, okay, it's not as personal as I thought, but people do come back, which I'm grateful for. Yeah.
What's the most fulfilling part about running Seacoast Lately?
The most fulfilling is when somebody does something on the Seacoast because they learned about it through us, and not to like take credit, it's just like the platform that it is. So if they're like, oh my gosh, I tried a new restaurant that I never would have known about because we saw it on your Instagram, or, oh, no way, like I learned about this business on your Facebook page, and then like now I'm partnering with them for my business because like that's really cool what they did and I didn't know they existed. And I'm learning these things like behind the scenes before I'm posting it. So it's not like I'm an expert and know everything about the Seacoast. Like I'm learning about these businesses too alongside everybody else. But just like the network and like the networking possibilities of it and that have happened because of what we're sharing brings me so much joy when people are like, oh my gosh, like I went to this hotel and had like the best family weekend because it was on your feed. I'm like, okay, that fills me with so much joy because that's like why I'm doing this. And I get the same feelings myself too, like from learning about these awesome businesses. So that's definitely what makes me the happiest.
If at any point in the last 9 years, have you ever not been wanting to do this? Have there been times where you found yourself, what if I do something else? I don't work for anyone. No one's holding me to this. This is all just driven by myself. I don't have to do this.
That's very true. Yes. And there have been several times that I'm like, I'm over it. I don't want to do this anymore. But when I think of the alternatives and then, a day goes by and I'm like feeling back to myself or something, I'm like, I can't dream of doing anything else. I truly love what I do. I feel very grateful and fortunate to be able to do what I do and wake up every day and be psyched about going to work and having a flexible schedule that I can come here in the middle of a work day and get to spend time with you, who's doing amazing things here on the Seacoast. Like, if I maybe had a different kind of job, I wouldn't be able to do that. So I'm very grateful for what this provides. And yeah, there have definitely been times though I'm like over it, but they haven't lasted long, and I don't think they will.
What do you see the future of Seacoast Lately being?
I just want to reach as many people as possible through what we're doing. Like, we do put out an events calendar. So even if people aren't subscribing to other platforms or channels, like just to see, like our intern Ella does the events calendar every month and she's awesome at it. Just so like for people to see like what she puts together and be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to do this on Thursday night, this on Friday night, this on Saturday, this also on Saturday. To like provide that to people, I just want everyone to see it because she does such a good job putting it together. And there's so much going on if you like dig a little deeper, which she does. So I genuinely want people to just like do all sorts of fun things on the Seacoast all year round. So that's where my heart that's what my heart wants. But just to continue growing Seacoast Lately, growing our platforms, growing our reach, our audience. We just started like kind of branching a bit into like the greater Portland area. So that's really exciting to do a similar thing to Seacoast Lately, but it's called Maine Lately. So I'm really excited about that opportunity to explore more of that and see where it goes. I mean, it might not stick at all, but who knows? It's kind of exciting. But beyond that, I don't know. Whatever, if other people have ideas, like it's mostly just me. So I'm open to other things if people want to see something different or new things or have it ebb and flow or evolve or in different ways. Like I'm totally open and not stuck on anything. So I'm excited to see where it does go.
So you've moved beyond, we presume, the $1,000 a year income from year one.
Yes.
Obviously, don't need to tell me the financials and how you're doing now, but I'm sure people are wondering, is this a full-time career? Is this enough to support living in Portsmouth?
Together with doing social media freelance, it is, yes. And I'm thankful for that. It's not like, could I raise a family on it? No. But it is, I do have enough for now. But it's not like it's guaranteed to, which is like a kind of funny position to be in because it's like, you know, when COVID happens or, you know, a financial thing happens and not people can't spend money on advertising or it's harder to or people have tighter pockets, it's like I rely on like the small businesses to like help me survive too. So yeah, I can't guarantee an income, but I work hard and do my best. So just got to keep trying, I guess.
Well, I very much enjoyed this conversation, Maggie. Thank you so much for being here. I've got one final question, which is what we ask every single person who appears on Seacoast Stories. And it is simply this. What's your mission?
My mission is to bring more joy to the world, especially the Seacoast, through just celebrating the amazing place we get to live, to being joyful, like happy photos, happy content, happy interactions, sprinkling joy into as many lives as we can reach. That's my mission.
That's an amazing mission, and we are so happy to have you running it. You are absolutely the person for Seacoast Lately on behalf of the Seacoast members and your 38,000 followers. I want to say thank you for all that you do. I know it's not easy. As much as you enjoy it, I'm sure there are some times that are a bit tougher than others, and so we appreciate you for putting the work in every day, starting at 4:50 a.m.
Thank you. Thank you so much for saying that, and thank you for having me on your awesome podcast. I'm really excited for you, and it's going to be such a great addition to our community, the people of our community, and we're grateful to have you here. I'm so glad you decided to stay for more than a year.
Oh, yeah.
And make the Seacoast your home.
Biggest commitment I've ever made.
I love it. Yeah, it's so exciting. We're grateful to have you, and thank you for starting this podcast and for all the hard work you put in to make this happen and celebrate our community in a different kind of way that I don't know if we've ever had before. So I'm excited to follow along and cheer you along the whole way.
Thank you, Maggie. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
That's Maggie Sutherland, the founder and owner of Seacoast Lately. To get more inspiration for how to spend your time on the Seacoast, simply follow @Seacoast Lately on Instagram if you are not already. I've linked to the page in the show notes. Now, before Maggie left my home studio, I had to ask her one final question. I have a complicated relationship with technology. I'm a producer at Spotify, which is at its core a tech company. I love the company, its mission, and do believe our product makes the world a better place. But I don't trust the intentions of most tech companies. I'm not convinced Google, Meta, Apple, or TikTok have our best interests at heart. Oftentimes, I feel we'd be better off without these companies, like we should have just stopped advancing once the BlackBerry came out. I feel so strongly about this that I wrote in my first book that, quote, Technology addiction is the single most important issue our generation faces right now, end quote. And I put that ahead of climate change, inequality, even war. I know that's a big statement, but I believe our screen time is the driving force behind the deep divisions in this country, not to mention the depression, anxiety, and loneliness epidemics we're facing. Yet, with that said, I use tech every single day. I scroll Instagram, I watch YouTube, I refresh my Gmail all the time, and I publish this podcast on Apple. I get it. I'm a contradiction. In my business, we refer to social media as the necessary evil. On one hand, we use it to our benefit by promoting our products, but also to our detriment by spending too much time on these apps, taking away from other important things in life. So that's why whenever I talk to someone who works in social media, I can't help but ask them about their relationship with the very thing that helps so many of us, but that is also tearing us apart. This is what Maggie had to say.
That's a really insightful question that you ask and important to think about. I think social media is awesome from a business perspective. Like, I wouldn't have a job if social media didn't exist. If Instagram wasn't a thing, like, I would still be making $1,000 a year. So in that regard, I appreciate it and think it's so great that it does exist. And I do love it for that purpose. From a personal standpoint, I think it can be kind of tricky with our daily lives, and I try to spend less time on it on my personal accounts. I have an Instagram and Facebook only because I have to have it for work, but the only platform I really do spend time on is Instagram. I rarely post, and I do go on probably once a day, and I do enjoy it for pleasure, but I try to take breaks from it and not bring my phone with me a lot of the time and not be as responsive. And I do like to be off the grid, especially on vacation. I keep my phone in the room the entire day and just be tech free, which I think is important too. But I can probably spend too much time on it. And I don't love that about today's culture because I like being outside. I like interacting with real people. So I think it's good and bad.
I couldn't have said it any better myself. Thank you, Maggie Sutherland, for the insights and for joining me on today's podcast. You are the Seacoast #1 fan, and I am very impressed by you. Now, during our conversation, I failed to ask Maggie for her opinion on where to get the best lobster roll. It's a cardinal sin, I know, but like I told you, not from here. Still getting used to the whole lobster roll being a thing. So if you're out there and you can tell me where to find the best lobster roll, then slide into my DMs so that we can have a fake conversation on an app that I hate. Or better yet, if you see me at Stroll Cafe or at The Goat stuffing my face with nachos, please come up and say hi. I'd love to hear your story. Thank you for listening. And until next time, live free or die.